welcome back to my channel. I'm just happy because I bought a new microphone. It's sure microphone to make sure that my life will be sure. Welcome to Little Pinay Nurse channel, and today is another day, so another vlog for you guys. For today's video, I just want to share my experience as a band 6 at one point in the ward before I went back to band 5. I really haven't shared this on my vlogs, and I think this is the first time that I'm gonna be sharing everything about it, like the process and how I felt about it after and just everything. But before that, I just want to share the notebooks that I have before all of this. 6 years ago, I was still in the Philippines and I was applying for a UK nurse application. I had to do a CBT, and CBT is like multiple choice exam on the computer, and I have to pass that test. So I've read the whole book of the Royal Marsden, which took me like, I don't know how many months did I do it. I forgot already, but I have a notebook. Look at that, you guys. At that time, I'm not yet UKRN, but of course I already manifested it. And look at that. I was still wearing the white uniform. I did it in the Philippines and I actually brought it here in the UK. My family is here. And I also put my travel around the world goals. Let me see how many. Oh, I just recently went to Iya. So that one is ticked already. This is Japan. I'm hoping to go there in the next 2 years. I just have to save money. Korea. I haven't been there. Singapore, Iceland, I'm planning hopefully soon. Paris, I've been there. So out of these places, only 2 has been ticked yet. But hopefully in the next 2 years, no, 3 years maybe, I'm gonna be able to visit all the ones that I have manifested 6 years ago. Look at that. See how much I studied back in the day. I had all the energy. I literally printed the whole Royal Marsden book, which I haven't really looked back actually. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, back to the main topic. So basically, just a history. I worked in another trust for 1 year and it was really a busy ward. So I learned so much from there. And even I was there, I was also studying a lot. Like during my free time, I would always look and read things that I didn't know in the ward or I didn't understand. I would use my personal time to study and to learn things. I was just a bit dedicated back then to be the best nurse that I could be. So I've learned everything. So that ward was like a general surgical ward, and we did have a lot of difficult patients, challenging stuff and challenging things. So I learned so much. Although it was really difficult and challenging, it gave me a lot of strength in the end. Like it gave me a lot of knowledge, skills, confidence, and all that. But because it was too stressful, so I decided to transfer to another trust here in London. Basically, after 1 year, I'm in a different trust and I was working in a orthopedic elective surgical ward. So it wasn't really that heavy, but it was good. I was like becoming the nurse that I want to be. Like I'm really good with patients. I talk to them with respect and with confidence. And yeah, I was just, doing my thing, being a good nurse. And I was also still studying. I had all the strength and the energy to study a bit more and to make myself better as a person and as a nurse. I think I was working there for like 8 months already, or 9 months, and somebody left from the band 6 position. I think somebody went to some other place, and so the post for band 6 was open. And a lot of my colleagues, my manager, the other senior staff there was telling me to apply for it. I felt like I was still premature. Like I was just working there for 9 months and they want me to apply for it. And I was like, I don't feel ready yet. I feel like I'm still young. I feel like I'm still like not ripe yet for this role. And I said, no, it's okay. You're doing very well. You go for it, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, let me just try. I just want to experience the interview for a band 6 because at some point I really want to be promoted in my job. I just want to experience the interview itself. Now, I don't want to be embarrassed during the interview, so I don't want to go to the interview without the proper gears and the proper answers. I don't want to go there without any preparation. So I prepared, and I think I prepared so much, like so much that I even got the post. Like I wasn't really expecting it. I just went for it, and then I would just answer the questions, and I'm like, I'm just ready ready to be rejected for that interview because all I want is to experience the interview. And then I got the call after saying, you got the post. And I'm like, oh my God. It was a mixed feeling because I didn't know if I liked it or I didn't, if I was ready for it or I'm not. Anyway, just to show you my other notebook, when I was already a nurse, I bought another notebook and this is where I write down other things as well. Oh, this is not the notebook. This one is the other notebook that I used. And again, I'm so studious. Like, if you can see, it's all important things basically that I need to take note of. Just about nursing stuff. Again, I use my personal time doing this when I'm at home. I just love studying. Oh gosh. I just love studying. Studying, no? So I wrote down here as well the Band 6 interview questions, the potential ones. Like I just search online in YouTube, Google, what are the potential Band 6 interview questions? Like I think I wrote down like quite a lot of questions, potential questions. What could you bring to this team? I wrote down as well like what's my potential answer if these questions will be asked of me. Like what could you bring to this team, or how would you go about ensuring that you improve the quality of the care that you give? Why are you applying for this job? What does good communication look like to you? What do you think involves in the role? How will you balance the administrative duties and clinical care required of you as a charge nurse? And then at time you had to manage a challenging patient, including how you handled the situations, because of course as a band six you need to be the problem solver. And then what does being a mentor mean to you? How would you motivate your nurses on a daily basis? How do you handle a patient who is dissatisfied? How do you adhere to the values of this trust? Tell me your weakness and strengths, and how will it impact on your role as band 6? What is clinical governance? Tell me a time when someone asked you to do something that was against your values, and what did you do? So it's more on situational questions as well. And I even forgot what was the question. I only remember one question, which was, what are the 3 things that you could contribute to this team or to the department? And my answer was, one was more support for the staff, because I always like helping anyway. I like helping my colleagues and supporting them. Even though I was still a band 5, I would always help my colleagues. And then the second was, I think I said less attrition rate. So it means like I'm gonna be able to help reduce the absences or people leaving the department. And what was the other one? More support for the manager, I think. I forgot already, but that was the question that really sticks with me because I had to think. But all the rest were like things that I already prepared, and those that were actually mentioned on the online like interview questions. Yeah, so if you are applying for a band 6 position, just look for it online. I think there's a lot anyway. So I got the position, na, diba? And then the other staff that was working there for a longer time, like way longer than me, they also applied, but they didn't get the position. And I think, there's always jealousy if there's a change. It's just a natural reaction for people to sometimes not really accepting. So I actually had that feeling that people were like against it. Like they thought that I just got the position because my manager likes me so much, or it's favoritism or things like that. But you know what? I was really doing a good job with my job as a band 5 nurse. I like helping my colleagues, but being a band 6 is a different level. Like you really need to be more assertive, more of a decision maker, which I actually struggled. And the number one that I really struggled the most is when the staff are fighting and I have to stop the fight, because these people are already, we are already adults, but we still do fights. And in my ward at that time, they just love making fights for just petty stuff, like small things. They would fight about it. And if I'm the in charge during that time, I just couldn't do anything. I was too weak. I didn't have like a proper backbone as a band band 6 at that time. So I actually read a book. And it's cultural thing as well, because we grew up in an environment where we were told to shut up or not to talk back or be respectful in a way that you don't talk back, which is very different in here. It's just something that was wired on me already, but it's difficult to change right away. But I was actually reading this book, Not Nice. It's just saying stop people pleasing, staying silent and feeling guilty, and start speaking up, saying no, asking boldly and unapologetically being yourself. Well, actually, this book helped me a little bit to be more assertive, be more authentic and genuine in myself, and stopping people pleasing, and more importantly being able to say no, because I think that is very important. Before, I would always like say yes, I just couldn't say no. It was so difficult for me, and that is a trait that you shouldn't have when you are applying for a band 6. I think I had parts where I was good at, so usually I'm good with problem solving but not really a good decision making like right away. Sometimes I have to think first and give the decision when I'm able to process everything. But there are other people who are really skilled with decision making. They can really decide right away. I just didn't have that. And also being assertive, I didn't have that. I was more of a people pleaser before. So it was still a struggle for me, and I would just kept on going. My manager was supportive as well of me. She taught me everything. She supported me. She taught me how to do the schedule, to investigate on the datex or incident reports. Because as part of the band 6, it's part of your task where you will be making a rota or the schedule of the department itself. And it's difficult to do the rota. That was one of my challenges as well, because it's just like you have to make it equal, balance, safe. Safety means that there should be like a senior nurse on that shift. It should be like enough staff on that day and the other day. So in a ward setting, especially if there's like a lot of new nurses, it's difficult to make that schedule thing. And also another part is investigation. So whenever there is an incident report, the band 6 and the manager picks it up and have to do something about it or have to investigate on it and things like that. And of course, when you are working in a ward, you are the senior staff, so everyone will rely on you. And at that time, our ward was busy because it was just after the COVID, and because it's an elective orthopedic ward, a lot of the doctors were doing more surgeries because they were trying to keep up with the list, because this list of patients who were supposed to have surgery during the COVID were canceled, and now it's just like we have to keep up with it and we have to do a bit more than usual. So it was really busy during that time. I didn't really stop working during COVID. So before this position, I was sent to intensive care unit to work as a surge nurse. So it's just basically helping the nurses in ITU to deal with this COVID patients who are in intensive care. And I just didn't stop working. I wasn't sick. I just kept on going until after all the COVID is finished. That's when I felt that I'm actually tired. I had burnout. And this is proper burnout because I didn't have the will and energy to even study or read anything about trainings or things like that. I just didn't want to do anything anymore in my nursing career. That's why I had to leave. I was a band 6. I was like doing it for like maybe 9 months already, and I just felt so tired of it. Like it was just so stressful for me emotionally, mentally. Like every day going to work was just really so stressful, and I don't think I can live with that anymore. So I went online and looked for our vacancies, and I saw the recovery department was looking for nurses. So I applied for that, and then I got the position. So the manager, my manager now, she accepted me. And so that's why I am now in recovery. Because it is a different department, I have to step down to band 5, which is I'm okay with. Like a lot of people at the time were saying, oh, you're making the wrong decision because you're already a band 6. You're already going up the ladder and you're going to go down to band 5. And you know what? For me, mental health is way more important. And now I am happier. Like I'm happy being a band 5. My manager is really good as well. My old manager was good as well. But this one is a better department. Like it's more balanced. I'm more feeling healthy emotionally, mentally. And I actually tried to heal myself from the burnout while working in recovery. So when I started in recovery, I was still burnout. So I just didn't really want to do anything. Even the trainings, the mandatory trainings online, I was just like pushing myself to do it, forcing myself to do it. I just didn't really want to learn anything anymore at that time. After 1 year of of working in recovery, I think I have recovered as well from my burnout. Although right now I'm not as passionate as I was before. Like before I was really into nursing. Like I really love my career. I really love nursing. But now it's not that anymore. I think I'm still recovering. Like I probably 90% recovered, but it's still 10% is still missing. And one of the reasons as well why I left, because in the ward at the time, I just didn't go very well with the matron. The matron is the manager of the manager. And she was actually a matron of another department who was always calling us and trying to get staff. And who's affected so much with this is the band 6, because the band 6 senior staff will have to tell the nurse to go there to another department because they're understaffed. And even though we were just, good amount of staff, they would still want to get one staff from us. It just kept on happening every time, and we couldn't do anything because this is part of the management to help another department. Although I would be happy if we are really like a lot of staff, but because it was just like the number of staff, ano ba, magtagalog na nga ako, parang sakto lang siya ng number, tapos gusto pa niyang kunin. And ang daming mga issue kasi na parang feeling ko, the higher management, not my manager, but the higher, yung mga matataas pa, they don't really care about the staff. They just care about the numbers. They care about how much yung matitipid nila sa like for example, hindi sila mag-open ng bank agency staff, or hindi sila mag-open ng parang overtime or bank opportunity for other nurses para mag-work kasi gusto nila makatipid. The more silang nakakatipid, the more silang napopromote. But it's not healthy for the staff. So sila lang ang benefit. And I didn't like that. Like, during my time, may bagong head of nursing. Tapos, hindi din siya nakatagal doon. Mga ilang months lang din siya. I don't know, 2-3 months lang. And then she resigned. And it just goes to show na wala talagang stability with the department at that time. I don't know now. Maybe they have changed already. It's really different kung band 6 ka or you're on senior kind of level or managerial position. You need to work on numbers as well, on making sure that nakakatipid kayo sa ward nyo, being more efficient, and things like that. So, iba talaga siya from band 5. Like, a lot of responsibility there. And kailangan mong maging mas supportive sa management kaysa sa staff. Parang yun yung na-notice ko na parang if you're a band 6 already, then parang you have to support the management side, but you also have to support the staff, which is more complicated kasi mag-iba yung world na yan eh. And you have to be balanced. You have to balance it out, which is difficult to do. Anyway, it was a good experience, and the good thing about it is nag-increase yung sweldo ko at hindi na siya bumalik. Like, when I transferred to recovery as a band 5, hindi na siya bumalik to the same, so yung sweldo ko ngayon is like the highest sa band 5 na rate. That was the good side of it. And also the experience itself and learning things from it as well was a really good thing to take with me. So this is my advice for you, especially sa mga Filipino nurses who would be becoming band 6. Okay, number 1, knowledge and skills. You have to have that. Kasi everyone will rely on you. When I was working as a band 6, like, everyone was just calling me. The nurses, the HCA, physiotherapists, like, they would always look for the in charge. It's gonna be all your responsibility and all your fault sometimes. And you have to deal with everything. Anyway, just make sure that everything that you don't know, you should be able to study after, or maybe take note of it and check after, like, what is this? How do you do this? Or take every opportunity to learn, because the more that you learn, the more that you're gonna be, a good band 6. And number 2 is you need to have a backbone. One of the things that I could suggest is reading this book, Not Nice. Because being nice and being kind is different. It's good to be kind, but sometimes being nice is not good for our mental health, because being nice is just, saying yes even though you don't want to, not being able to say no, not speaking up when you really have to. Because sometimes when you don't speak up and then it just keeps on happening and it just keeps on increasing deep inside you, then in the end you'll get more emotional. You're burst with emotions and you will just come out as rude. So that's why it's good to speak up. at the first instance para hindi na siya maboil inside. Tama ba? Maboil inside. Hindi na siya matipon inside of us. Ilabas mo na kasi. Minsan, we were told to shut up most of the time while we were growing up. That's just part of the culture and part of growing up, part of our environment. And this is not just in the Philippines, it's also in the Asian countries na that's why we are sometimes very shy and silent and we don't speak up that much because we were told na, oh, if you talk back to me, you don't have respect or something like that. You're being rude because you're talking back to me. You're being rude because you're saying no when I want you to do it. So, yun kasi yung upbringing natin and we have to change that. We have to fix that and be more assertive. So, me, I did a little bit of therapy already about it and now I'm practicing every day. I practice trying to speak up in a way na hindi rude and I always try to say no. Now, it's so nice to say no na parang at least I can say no in a good way na may reason na I don't have to do it just because close kayo, gagawin mo or things like that. Itanong mo muna sarili mo, gusto ko bang gawin to or not? I could always say no anyway. That's your life. You can always say no. No matter how close you are with that person, kung ayaw mo namang gawin or wala kang time gawin, just say no and you will have a happier life. And number 3, you have to be ready. Mentally, physically, emotionally. Kasi kung band 6 ka, you have to sacrifice a lot of things. Minsan, ikaw na yung last na umuuwi. You are very responsible. You should be very responsible and with integrity and you should be liable because that's part of being a leader. Be a leader, not a boss. Mentally ready in a way na dapat sa isip mo, alam mo na ano yung mangyayari sa'yo na you will have a lot of challenges pero at the end of the day, you will be able to surpass naman these challenges. But it's just good to be ready beforehand anyway. You'll learn along the way. You will improve along the way. But I think it's more on, number 1 important ko talaga na sasabihin is yung pagiging assertive eh. Kasi it's just me, siguro my personal experience kasi hindi ako assertive at that time. I think it's better to practice that beforehand. Or even though if you are a band 5 now, it's just good to exercise that now, being assertive. Maybe look for books that talks about assertiveness or assertiveness training, conflict management, things like that. There was one story. I was a band 6. I was starting my shift on a night shift. Tapos, yung katrabaho ko na isang band 5, sabi niya, uy, mag-obs ka ha. Sinabihan niya yung HCA. Tapos yung HCA, nagalit naman siya kasi ayaw niyang sinasabihan siya na mag-obs. They were shouting to each other. Everyone could hear. And, I just didn't know how to handle it. Like, guys, stop it. Parang wala silang acknowledgement sa authority ko there as a band 6. They were just being themselves and fighting each other, becoming emotional, and yun, yung mga ganun. Kasi meron talagang ibang mga tao dito na grabe yung personality nila and mahilig silang makipag-away. So, you will realize that anyway. May mga taong ganun. Ano pa ba? Ano pa ba ang aking maisasuggest? So far, maganda naman siya and maganda siya for career progression. So, I support you guys. If you're gonna apply for a band 6 position, go for it! Now, like, parang wala akong pangarap for now to be in that position again. Yung gusto ko ngayon is actually clinical educator. Yun yung gusto ko kasi I love teaching. I love giving information. Pero wala pa akong ina-applyan or anything. I'm just happy being a band 5 and being a vlogger at the side. I don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe. Baka merong changes. So, we'll see how it goes, you guys. And I think that's it for this podcast. I hope you will subscribe to my channel. I hope I will see you on the next vlog. Parang tanga, ano ba? Sana naman ay may mag-subscribe. Yung subscribers ko pala ngayon is like 15. Thank you so much for my 15 subscribers. I'm hoping and I'm manifesting na I'm gonna have a lot of subscribers and I will be able to impart more educational videos for nurses, especially to the Filipino nurses who are about to come here or who are just new in the UK. You guys, it's good to subscribe to my channel.